I think a lot of problems that we have is that we think that these men think that we are stupid. They know we're not stupid. They know you're not stupid. That man knows that you are not dumb. What he does know and what he is acting upon and why he keeps doing what he's doing and treating you the way that he's treating you is because he knows your self-esteem is low. Want to talk about it? Men being very discerning creatures gives them an advantage over a lot of women who lack the self-esteem and lack their ability to discern what is what. It's not that we don't have discernment. It is the fact that we don't operate in it in the same way that men do. Men listen to that shit and they pay attention. They are observers. They are hunters. That is in their nature. So their nature is to observe their prey in a different kind of way that women just don't. So no, he knows exactly that you know what he's doing and how he's doing it. But he knows that you have low self-esteem. He knows that you're not going to leave because he knows that you think that you can't find anything better. And as long as you stay in that mindset, he has you where he wants you. He can continue to cheat and say sorry. He can continue to mistreat you and say sorry. He can continue to talk to you crazy, and all he has to do is apologize, and you're going to keep taking him back. He can continue to love bomb you over and over and over again because he knows you're not going to go anywhere, because your self-esteem is sitting there telling you that because this relationship is not as bad as the last one, it's really not that bad. Like, girl, you out here comparing bad with bad. So this brings the situation to be less about him and more about you and where you are in your mental space and in your self-esteem and in your insecurities. Your insecurities will always tell on you. They will always snitch on you. Before you tell on yourself, your insecurities will tell on you, whether that be to the men you decide to date, whether that be from the friendships that you decide to get in. How you make decisions, how you stand on your boundaries, if you have boundaries, how you set your standards, where your integrity lies, where your moral lies. Those are decisions, right? And you move in a certain way when you have a certain kind of integrity. You move in a certain way when you have certain kind of boundaries. You move in a certain way when your self-esteem is elevated at a space that is healthy. So because you are telling on yourself, you don't have to open up your mouth and tell a man nothing in today's world, because I'm not saying that men, they may not be emotionally stable sometimes, but they still have the discernment and the intellect to see right through your bullshit that you try to portray. So you have to be careful in dating while your self-esteem is low. This is why, let me tell you something. So in 2022, I wanted to launch a boot camp to do self-esteem, but God said I wasn't ready yet. So God introduced me to somebody to show me my patterns and where I was weak at within my insecurities, right? Now, anybody else will be like, oh my God, I know you fail. I didn't fail because I didn't see this insecurity, and I didn't see why men would choose my type of woman, right? It's not that I don't have the education. It's not that, I'm not pretty enough. It's not that my body is not good. Like, I have all of those qualities going for myself, but I also have a problem standing on boundaries within relationships. Well, I had a problem standing on boundaries within relationships because of my abandonment issues. My abandonment issues would make me show up in a way where I would put other people before me because I didn't want them to feel abandoned by me. I didn't want them to feel as if I didn't care. So I would put my mental health on the line, and I would put them first while sacrificing mine, and call that love. I say all that to say, in April, I'm launching a self-esteem boot camp, and it is going to be a live boot camp where you're going to see me live. And I want to help women work on their self-esteem so that they won't become the playground for narcissists and broken men. At some point, women, we have to raise the standard so that they have no other choice but to get their shit together. And raising the standard means denying them access to you. Raising the standard means setting boundaries and standing on them. Raising the standard means stop raising these boys into men. If their mama couldn't do it, what makes you think? In the voice of K. Michelle, I want us to do better so that we can... You get what I'm trying to say. Y'all have a great day. I love y'all. Bye.
Man will get obsessed with a woman that is not afraid to lose them, that can walk away from them, that rejects them, that can really just move on. Why? Because men don't like rejection. 2, men get obsessed over women that they cannot have. They get even more obsessed if they did have you at one point and you walked away from them. They get worse. They just lose their mind. They lose their mind Because it's like, how dare you just walk away from me and not come back? How dare you not be afraid to lose me? They lose their mind. So what they do is, when they know you ain't coming back, they get bitter or they settle. Most of the time they just settle. They try to find other women that's like you, but the relationship never works out. Why? Because it's not you. She's not you. She's not you. Now, there's some men that get over it. Very few. They get over it and say, well, she ain't coming back, so it is what it is. And they may find somebody that's for them. But most of these men settle. And they treat the woman they're with right now like trash. All because the girl they once had is no longer there. It's the truth. Why y'all think these men spin the block years later? Because they was thinking about you that whole time. That whole time. Especially when you randomly think about the guy you walked away from years later or months later. That's not your thoughts. That's his thoughts. That's why they spin the block out of nowhere. Some of these men, they subconsciously be thinking about you and manifest you coming back. They don't even be realizing that. But they do. That's why y'all randomly be thinking about these men. And when they come back, you don't take them back. Because you have to remember why you walked away in the first place. Leave them alone. They get so obsessed with women that just walk away. And they never forget you. Ever. It don't matter if they in a relationship. It don't matter if they're married. It don't matter. Once you walk away and you show them that you're not afraid to lose them, they go batshit crazy. It's the truth.
Do I agree with the 4B movement in theory? Yes. But do I have a problem with the 4B movement? Yes. I'm going to run this shit back and I'm going to make this shit very plain. So TikTok, this is for educational purposes only. A Beretta is a gun. I am telling you to get a gun. You choosing to leave men alone don't mean that you will be left alone. So if you don't want to get a Beretta, you will be in a body bag. You really think that a man is just going to they're just going to stop No, you just going to get killed. This ain't motherfuckers. These motherfuckers ain't no soft Koreans. When has a man ever listened to anything that you have ever done? Ever. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. That's the thing. Y'all thinking about this shit in a logical way. Men are emotional. Y'all trying to make the shit make sense. They're going to do what the want to do like they always have. As a woman, you cannot keep a man from nothing that he really wants. Even if that thing is your own body. The only reason that your body is yours is because he does not want it bad enough. You remember that for the rest of your life. You remember that for the rest of your life. The only reason why that man has not taken your body from you is because he does not want it bad enough. If that man wants your 10-year-old daughter's body, he will take it from you. Unless you get a gun. That is what y'all are not seeing. So if I get one more notification or one more stupid, kind of like motherfucker Dora the Explorer. Swiper, no swiping. Raping. Why the f y'all think that I can get on this motherfucker and say what the f I want to say and not give up? Because I know how to fight in real life. I already told y'all this shit. I was not poor, but I am from the hood for real. I already told y'all this is my cousin. This is Daniel. This is who I grew up with. This is who I grew up fighting. I'm not talking about no ass pity pat shit. I'm talking about fighting. We was fighting like street. And that is strong. He is naturally strong. He has been strong his whole life. Even though I could whoop his brothers, I could only hang with Daniel. I always knew that I could never beat him. I know the strength that a man has when he is full of anger and rage. I know what it feels like. And I know that if I can only hang with something like that, there is absolutely nothing that you could do. And Daniel thinks that y'all are just something to be owned. He will put a baby in you because you are his property. This is what y'all do not understand about the psyche of men. A man showing you that he hates you does not mean that he is gay. Does not mean that he likes men. Why do you think a man cherishes his friends and values his friends and cares for his friends, but treats you like shit? Because he loves his friends. Men cannot the things that they love. That takes an emotional maturity that most men do not have. Why do men conveniently only snap on the women that they never snap on their mama, they never snap on their sister. They only snap on the women that they are. The default to men is if he is attracted to you, he has the ability to mollywop you. Don't tell me I don't know what the 4B is. I know what the is. But for whatever reason, you think that you can starve out somebody like this. The actual court document. On July 28, 2012, when a police officer was dispatched to a location and saw Daniel walking down the street trying to catch up to his girlfriend, who appeared to be in distress. She was crying and was wearing dirty, torn clothes. The officer asked Daniel what was going on. Daniel said that she fell down and she needed some help. But the girlfriend was standing behind him, shaking her head no. That's not what happened. The officer noticed that she had some swelling to her face. Her lower lip was cut open and bleeding, and her clothes were very dirty. She was crying. She was absolutely fearful for being around him. She told the officer that she was driving down the street with him and that he asked to use her phone. She said no, and he punched her in the face, then turned the car off when it was in motion, and then choked her with his arm, causing her to be unable to breathe. She's telling the motherfucking truth. 100% true, because I know that crazy motherfucker. You think that you can 4B a man whose hand, this hand right here, is strong enough to crush your fucking throat. Any man can fucking crush your throat and look at you dead in your motherfucking face as your life leaves your motherfucking body. According to her statement, she attempted to exit the vehicle, but he grabbed her by her pants and ended up pulling her back into the vehicle with such force that it ripped her underwear in 3 places. That is absolutely fucking true. He is that fucking strong. She managed to escape, but he chased her down, threw her to the ground, and punched her while she was on the ground. Now, this is the key. She told officers that she was experiencing some cramping and that she was 20 weeks pregnant with his child. Pregnant. Remember that. Pregnant. He put the baby in her on purpose. And because she didn't have the motherfucking Beretta, like I'm telling you to right fucking now, he went away for a few years, but he got out last year.
Accused of stabbing his pregnant girlfriend 47 times with a knife and scissors in May. 36-year-old Daniel Rogers Conwell Jr. faced multiple charges, including attempted murder.
10 weeks pregnant, stabbed 47 times. Because he wasn't put down in 2012, look what he did to somebody else in 2023. Unfortunately, I can't put him down because they're never in the act of committing a crime with me, but they will be in the act of committing a crime with you. So pay attention when somebody tell you to get a fucking gun. You can't talk your way out of everything. Do I agree with the 4B movement in theory? Yes. But do I have a problem with the 4B movement? Yes.
Stick with me, y'all. Everything that he said in that video was correct. So, it's probably going to be tagged, so you can watch it for yourself, but for those who don't want to, he's basically saying that the 4B movement is very useful and a very great technique, but we also have to protect ourselves when it comes to men. A lot of people under his comments were really not necessarily understanding what he was trying to say. And I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can. He said in his video that men are emotional creatures and they are more likely to react than to think and use logic. Which is why we have a lot of different stories coming up about men hurting or even unaliving women who reject them from giving their numbers and so on and so forth. It is one thing to completely stop dating, to decenter men from your life. It is a great thing to do. It's an awesome technique. Highly recommended. But we also have to keep in mind that there are men out here, some evil fucking men out here, who don't give a shit about don't give a shit about boundaries, don't give a shit about how you feel or what you think. They will take you. They will take your daughters. They will take your children. It is one thing to decenter men, but it is another thing when men are looking for you. And I'm not just talking about owning a blicky or anything like that. I'm talking about learning Krav Maga, learning different fighting techniques that can help you subdue or to completely KO somebody. Because when you have those techniques, also, while decentering men, they're not just going to listen to you decentering men, but they are going to listen to you when you beat their ass. They are going to listen to you when you put them on a shirt. One more thing, and I'll shut up forever. There was this one video, I saw this woman who was walking down the street, and this guy was trying to speak to her, and she was like, nah, I'm good. And the dude started getting like aggressive with her, started getting closer to her, and then he grabs her, and she says, I'll unalive you. Now, the dude's not paying attention to her. He's like thinking, oh, she's just talking shit. Like, she don't mean none of that. We don't see it, but all you hear is a pew pew. And then you hear him say, oh my God, you shot me. You shot me. And then that's it. That's the end of the video. And you just see him fucking walking away, running away from her because it's like, damn, you actually shot me. Yes. Yes, we will. Learn to protect yourselves. Get a blicky if you need to. Just make... Your protection should be your number one priority. That's it.
When women don't care, that's when men care the most. Why? Because it's like you blew them off. You rejected them. You feel like you can do better. This guy's been, interested in you, but you can take him or leave him. Men's ego is going to kick right on in and try to pursue you just to say that they could get you, right? Meantime, that's exactly what you want. Why? Because if they get you too quick and they get you emotionally wrapped around their finger, then where is the challenge? He already won. He has all the power, and all you have is a bundle of feelings getting ready to be stomped on. Okay? So what I'm telling you guys is some of you ladies are too nice. Some of y'all, oh, I just want, the fairy tale. I just want to be loved. I just want to feel a connection. Okay, great. Save that for when you're married with a ring and a marriage license and all that. Don't give this to people who haven't even asked you to be their girlfriend. Don't give that to people who are not intending to marry you. Don't give that to people who don't want you to have their last name. Don't do that. Why? Because what have they given you? Nothing. The same thing that you've given them, some time. Okay? You need more than that. So a lot of ladies, stop it. Sometimes, when people hear your situation from a distance and, from a different perspective, they just want to slap you. Like, why are you crying? Like, why do you care? Like, why does it bother you? Is he going to marry you? Do you have a ring? Then why are you investing so much into this man? He hasn't invested anything back into you. You're the dumb one, okay? You're the one that needs to change. A lot of women realize too late that they were wrong. Men don't need to change. They have all the power because you're super emotional. Take that emotion out and you will have all the power. Okay?
Men fall in love with your absence because of vasopressin, but it's not what you think. Vasopressin is not this weird hormone that's released in men when you're not in their 5-foot radius. The reason that vasopressin is released in men when you're absent is because vasopressin releases in men when they have to problem solve. When you are not at his beck and call, then he has to figure out how to get you. And this is the way men are wired. They're bred to be conquerors. It's this whole Roman Empire thing that they're obsessed with. When you're not handing over your commitment, your life, your body, your space on a silver platter, then he has to work for it. And think about it logically. If you were a teenage kid and you were going to get a car and you had to work all summer mowing lawns to save up money to buy a car, you would value that car a lot more than someone who just got a car from their parents. They didn't have to work for it, right? If he has to work for you, if he has to crack down your outer shell to get to the inside, he's going to value that prize more than someone who's just handing herself over to him. And it's not about playing games. It's about playing smart. It's about prioritizing yourself. When you love yourself, you naturally don't hand over your whole being to someone you barely know. Essentially a stranger. If you're on 1 or 2 dates, that person is essentially a stranger. You do not know them. Think about somebody you love. So take yourself out of the equation. Think about your best friend. Would you advise her to jump 2 feet in with a guy she just met or that she's been on 1 or 2 dates with? No. You love her and you're you deserve literally the world, but mentally a guy who's going to make you a priority in his life. You would advise her to hold out until he's proven he's worthy of being in her life. Now hold the same love and respect that you hold for your best friend for yourself. When you love yourself, you see the situation clearly. And here's what I see it as. Women are always the prize. no matter who you are, no matter what your situation is, women are sacred. Men, that was like the first try. That was like the beta test. Women are sacred. They are always the prize. So therefore, the man needs to pursue you. He needs to woo you. He needs to convince you that he deserves a place in your well-rounded life. And this naturally occurs when you live a well-rounded life. When you have hobbies, when you have a job you're passionate about, when you have friends that you care for. You're not going to just open all the doors to any man who wants to give you attention. Attention is cheap, you guys. Attention is so, so cheap. A man should have to prove himself to have a spot in your life. And when your life is well-rounded, that means you just naturally don't have a ton of time to be handing over to someone before he's proven that he deserves a spot in your life. And that's why the absence of a woman works wonders on a man, because then he has to hammer it in. Remember the Roman Empire thing, the conqueror thing. He has to win her over. If you're just playing games and you're pretending to be busy all the time, the energy is off. But when you're living a well-rounded life, you're that bitch, hot girl energy, like that's what's going to woo him. That's what sets you apart from other women. Loving yourself makes you magnetic, not just to men, to literally everything in life. Because when you love yourself, you realize you don't really need this man. And that's when he's like, I'm going to prove to her why she needs me. Like, that's the irony of it. It's like when you don't need him, that's when he's like, I need her. Guys are so funny.